What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to the channel. This is Lone Wolf, and in this video, it's all about covenants. All right. So, with that being said, let's get into it.
Our gaze is shifted upwards to the sky.
Welcome, everyone. So, we were going to make a covenant video, all that editing jazz and all that good stuff. But being that Shadowlands is literally a couple days away, and I so happen to have gone through the entire covenant system and talked about synergies, looked at all the abilities, all that jazz, I decided that it'll be better for me to just upload the stream and shorten it as much as possible. I know it's a video on the longer side, but we did go 100% deep into the covenant system. To facilitate the length of the video, I did provide some timestamps. That way, if you're looking for a specific covenant, you can just go and click on the timestamp itself, and right there, boom, you got it. If you're one of those who come to the channel and enjoy my videos and you're not yet subscribed, do yourself a favor and subscribe. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and give it a share if you want others to watch it as well. If you're into the streaming scene, you can definitely find me on Twitch at Lone Wolf HD TV. All right, guys. So with that being said, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Hey. But I'm gonna talk about until 8 o'clock. Talk about the soul binds. Or any questions you guys have. Any questions you guys have, this is the moment. This is the moment right now. All right, so let's look at our soul binds. All right, so the entire reason that Pelagos, this is the Kyrian soul binds. These are the soul binds right here. You got 3 of them. Each covenant has 3 soul binds, which is another talent tree. Right? The sole reason that Pelagos is super strong is because disability. Disability increases the damage you do whenever you use, or increases the mastery you have. So for instance, I have 10% mastery, which increases all my abilities by 22%, right? The damage of it. If I use Resonating Arrow, let's read Resonating Arrow. It deals 500 damage, and your critical strike chance against the targets inside that area of effect is increased by 30%. All right, so let's look at our stats when we use Resonating Arrow. Now I have 36% increase to my damaging abilities, and my critical strike, I know you can't see it here, but it is 46% chance to crit. That is the sole reason why Pelagos is the strongest, because his damage is insane. All right. Everything else, True Shot lasts longer. Defeating an enemy lowers the cooldown on your file. Whatever. A defensive. Whatever. Nothing here is super insane, right? Because we have access to 2 potent conduits, which these are conduits right here. You have potency, which is damage increasing. You have finesse, which is utility, and you have endurance, which is your defensives. The last one is Let Go of the Past. Using a spell ability reduces your magic damage taken by 1%. Using another spell ability increases the amount by 1%. Okay? So it's a double. Wait. Is this... Oh, they changed this shit. This got changed, guys. This used to be versatility. This used to be whenever you use an ability and then you use a different ability after, and then a different ability after that, you get up to 5 stacks of versatility. So they're not there anymore. Interesting. But yeah, this is why Pelagos is the strongest. Clea, this is the one that I was saying that is about self-sustainability. Clea is all about self-healing, keeping as much, staying alive as much as possible. Not necessarily through cooldowns, not necessarily through defensive, but through healing. So your critical strikes gives you stacks up to 20. This stacks up pretty quickly, relatively speaking. If a nearby party member drops below 50%, you consume these stacks, and 1% of their maximum health is healed. So basically, 20% of the health is completely healed. Okay. Then you have Ascended File, which your File of Serenity. You summon this little dude right here. He comes over. He gives you three Files of Serenities, which is 3 potions. It restores health, and it removes all diseases. It removes all poisons, curses, and bleeds on you. All right? That's the perks of this covenant. You're able to just get all that shit out. So this one also renders you immune to the same things for 8 seconds after you use it. So that's pretty cool. That's self-sustainability, because if you're immune to magic spells and bleeds and all that shit, what are people gonna do? They can't do shit but do physical damage on you. Finesse, whatever. After 5 seconds out of combat, gain a shield of 10% of your maximum health. As a hunter, that is easy. Feign death, line of sight, get your pet back, wait 5 seconds. After you get out of combat, boom, you get a whole shield. The last one, they're interesting. You can sacrifice a potency conduit to get this one. When receiving healing while above 70% health, an ally that's above 70% health, 4% of the healing done is repeated on the same target over 5 seconds. So if you're playing with a druid, right here, this is the one. If you're playing with a druid can just throw hots on you. You run away. Those hots are enhanced, basically. Or you can get more crit if you play against a Death Knight, Unholy Death Knight, gives you increased critical strike. All right, and which is a lot. 8% critical strike just off of just this. If I press this, I get 8% whenever I'm surrounded. And this one, it's okay. It's okay, but being a marksmanship hunter, that you have access to concussive shot, you have access to your tar trap, you have access to your pet that can slow your target. It is not useful for us. But basically, it decreases the movement speed of the person by 45% for 20 seconds, which is a long time, and it can be useful, but whatever. Then here, this guy, Forge Light Prime Mechanicals, is the underdog. I feel like the hype that Pelagos gets overshadows this guy right here. I'm gonna tell you why. This one right here is not the reason why you want to take this guy. This one right here, after you use 90 abilities, it doesn't matter what it is, over the course of the match, over the course of the BG, over the course of the dungeon, raid, whatever may have you, this guy, after you use 90, it used to be a lot more, but they decreased it to 90. He comes from the sky, lands, knocks back everybody, and he heals you on top of dealing damage to people, and he stays up for 30 seconds. But that is not the reason why because he is not reliable. He's not something that you're going to be planning things around. He is not that powerful to make you plan around him. The reasons you want this guy is because of this. When reduced below 35% health, your File of Serenity, which is this potion that I showed you guys, heals you. I mean, maybe later in the expansion it becomes natural to you to do it. Oh my god, I have 89, I could do one more spell and they're gonna get knocked out. You can do that, but like I said, he's not the reason, especially in arena, that you're gonna grab him. So this, if you're facing a rogue, for instance, and they stun you, you're like a shaman. You get below, you're stunned, you have no trinket, you're like, help me, right? Boom, 35% health, boom, you get an extra 20% health on top. So it takes longer for them to kill them. But that's not the reason either that you're going to pick this. Is it useful? Yes. I'm going to show you why. This is the reason why this Soulbind is so good. When reduced below 35% health, you stun nearby enemies for 3 seconds, bro. AoE stun. ¿Tú sabes lo que te estoy diciendo? So, again, you're stunned The rogue got you. The druid got you stunned like this. Help me. Right? You get to 35% health. You get healed, and you AOE stun everybody around you, bro. As a hunter. Hunter, what is the biggest weakness for hunters? Stuns. So let's do an overall picture for the Kyrian. All right? In BFA, the biggest weakness we had is that we had no heals, and targets are able to line of sight, which means if I'm using an aim shot, if I'm using a sniper shot, they can just go like this behind a pillar. They can go like, and I cannot hit them. All right? Resonating arrow, I can hit them through walls. File of Serenity, I can heal. On top of, if you're going against a rogue or one of those classes that they rely on their stuns, this is a huge defensive, guys. This Soulbind right here is awesome. He is awesome. If you want straight DPS, go Pelagos. If you want extra sustainability, go Clea. Boom. On to the next one. All right, so now this is personally my favorite Soulbind, like in a sense of their Soulbind, the way their Soulbind's talents and conduits work, not necessarily because of the Covenant abilities. All right, the Night Fate. I think in BGs is gonna be hella fun. This has the best synergy with Marksmanship Hunters with our damage, the Night Fate, because of how we work. We work with openers. We are the best when it comes to openers. And Night Fate emphasizes that. So the Night Fate, Wild Spirits, is probably the best looking spell in the game, in my opinion. It looks sexy as hell. It does damage. I just want to lay in it. I literally just want to lay down and feel that ooze. Okay? So what this ability does, Wild Spirits, is every single time you do damage, guys, every time, an auto shot, a tick, your pet, if your pet is hitting the target, I'm not so sure about the tick. Aim shot, rapid fire only activates it one time, not every single bullet. Your steady shot, every damaging ability that you deal to the target that's inside that circle gets an additional 542 damage to them. Okay? On top of that, it applies Hunter's Mark on them. I mean, Hunter's Mark doesn't deal damage anymore. It doesn't increase damage to us anymore, or whatever. But you throw it, it deals damage. And then when it's active, it says each damaging ability you and your pet use against a target in the area will strike up to 5 nearby targets for 1,000 damage. So basically, if you have 2 targets, say you're in a 2v2, you throw it down, you hit one target. If the other target is inside that thing, that target also gets 1,000 damage. So the only reason it's not as good as the Kyrian one is because the target can just line of sight you, and the moment they step out of it, it's done. While the Kyrian, if they step out of that circle, they're still affected by the line of sight shit for 4 seconds. So the line of sight shit and the 30% crit. So that's just way more useful, the Kyrian one, in PvP. But it's strong in the sense that if you're playing with a rogue or a person who stuns, you throw this shit down, and every time you hit that target, they get an extra 1,000 tacked onto that, which is huge. If you do a double tap aim shot, your aim shot already does stupid damage, and you follow it up with an arcane shot, that's 3,000 extra damage just in 2 globals. You throw the Wild Spirits, you already have your double tap up, that person is stunned, aim shot, boom, you get 1,000. The extra aim shot that comes out, boom, that's another 1,000. Your arcane shot that you follow it up with, boom, that's another 1,000. So it is like cool and kind of useful, but it only be useful in PvE, in my opinion. But you got to remember, Mataso, Wild Spirits, just like Jan said, because he beat me to it, it is a 2-minute cooldown. while the Kyrian one is a 1 minute cooldown. All right, so that's the Covenant ability. And then the second ability for Night Fae is this one. Boom! I turn into this fox with increased movement speed, and I insta blink wherever I want. For Monstership Hunters, in arenas, it might be useful. In BGs, it is useful. World PvP, it is useful. Okay? It is cool. I like it, but anytime you use any ability, anything that you use outside of this shit, it will automatically just take you out. It doesn't matter what you use. As a Monstership Hunter, I haven't found an ability that you use that doesn't take you out of it. So that's the unfortunate. There's other classes that they can use some spells while in that form, but not Monstership Hunter. It on paper it seems great, but when you play with it in a PvP setting, it might not be. It might not be. Like, you have to understand your setup so good that you know that that person is not gonna leave. Like, if you're fighting a warrior and he already used his whirlwind, binding shot, wild spirits, double tap, pal carajo, shit like that. So let's get into the soulbind for the Night Fae. My favorite is Khura'in. This is the one that I have selected right now. This is, wait, is it? Yeah, I think it's my favorite. The reason I like Khura'in is because of this. Wild Hunt Tactics. Your damage to targets above 75% health and healing to targets below 35% health is increased by 10%. That's on top of your 10% of your lone wolf, right? And that's on top of everything else that you have. That is great because careful aim, they did nerf it in PvP. It is not 50% bonus damage in PvP. It is 20% bonus damage in careful aim. But hey, another 10% added to that. This synergizes very well with how we play. So we pick that. Let's go on to the next. Forge of Bonds. To activate this power, visit the Forge of Bonds. Oh, I have to click on the shit. Coño, this is why it's gotta be so fucking complicated. And then the next one is Soul Shape increases your movement speed. Oh, while out of combat, your Soul Shape teleport becomes a charge. Here it is. That's Khura'in, Matazo. While out of combat, your Soul Shape's teleport becomes a charge, stunning your target for 5 seconds and ending your Soul Shape. So you just got to remember that. Is it powerful? Yeah. Is it cool? Yeah. But like I said, you just have to have that. You just have to be out of combat. And if you want to be out of combat in that very instant, you just can't do it. Because as we know, in PvP, even if you feign death, you still have to wait that 4-second delay. Not in world PvP, but in like BGs or arenas, you have to wait this weird ass time to actually be out of combat. So the setup is awkward. You have to feign death. You have to line of sight, not get into combat, and then you come back. And you're also sacrificing a potent conduit versus a defensive. And then the last ones is after standing still for 5 seconds, you take 15% less physical damage until you move. I'm not gonna go with that. Damaging an enemy before they damage you increases your chance. Listen to this. This is like the best BG conduit. This is the best BG conduit. So on top of having that increased damage done, you get damaging an enemy before they damage you. Obviously, you're gonna want to start off in camouflage, and if you multi-shot, increases your chance to critical strike by 25%. Night Fae is gonna be chill. They have nice spots. They're nice little synergies. So this is huge. This first strike. And then face your foes while in front of your target. Your spells and abilities is decreased. Oh, decrease the damage they inflict on you by 3%. So basically, I tested this before. Whenever the target is in front of you, all the damage they do to you is decreased by 3%. I think this will be great in like progression PvE shit. But this right here, with this, beautiful in BGs. All right. On top of the wild charge, you can stun people in BGs. Beautiful, dude. I like it. I like it. This Soulbind is interesting, but I don't think it's gonna be something crazy. Reason I say that is you only get this benefit if you die. Okay? When you take damage that will kill you, instead rejuvenate within a wild seed, regaining 30% of your HP over 10 seconds. So after you die, the enemy has 10 seconds to kill the pod that you turn into. And if they hit it and take away 13,000 damage, then you die. So that itself to me is a complete waste unless you're doing PvE. This one is your versatility is increased by 3% when you have people near you. So if you into that versatility shit, this might be a go-to. This one, when your roots, stuns, and incapacitating class effects expire or dispelled, your target movement speed is reduced by 90%. So basically, say I scattershot you, right? Yeah, say I scattershot you. Say I freezing trap you. Say I binding shot you. The moment you get out of that, your movement speed is reduced by 90%. So you're gonna be there, like you're gonna come out of that freezing trap like, yo, I'm gonna go after this hunter, bust his ass, and you're like, ah. But it is only for like 2 seconds. 10% of your overhealing received are done as a shield target. So basically, if you use exhilaration, that heal basically turns into an absorb if you overheal yourself. Falling gives you a slow fall, which is whatever. After spending 60 seconds, that's just leveling up. Wild Spirits plus flowers in your feet. Increase your haste by 12% if you stand in them. So this can be good if you're opening from the start, right? Because you get that 12% haste. But is it a game changer? I don't necessarily think so. All right, and then Nia. I think Nia is actually pretty good as well. She's my other one that I like. Her main thing is healing or dealing damage. Has a chance to grant you a stack of redirected anima. Increases your maximum health and your mastery by 25. All right, and it stacks up to 16 stacks. So you get every time you get a proc, your health goes up 1%. Your maximum health up to 16%. Right? On top of that, you multiply 25 by 16, and that's how much mastery is gonna give you. So it's a good amount of mastery. The second one is While in Soul. This is another one that I like for BGs. While in Soul Shape, you regenerate 5% of your maximum health every 3 seconds. So whenever you turn into the Soul Shape, every 3 seconds you heal for 5% of your health. Great for BGs. Great for outdoor content. All right. Your movement speed increased by 20% for 2 minutes after defeating an enemy. And then the moment you get into combat again, this effect is removed. So I guess it's great for like questing, world quests, and grinding shit like the Maw maybe. And then the last thing is, this one right here is crazy, guys. This is insane. So basically, your interrupts apply paralytic poison to the target, dealing 2,000 damage, almost 2,400 damage over 30 seconds. And if targets with nice paralytic poison take an additional 370 nature damage if interrupted once more. So if you interrupt them, they automatically, it just makes your interrupt, your successful interrupt, into another damaging spell. And it's not damage that you're like, oh, that's crap damage. It's a nice amount of damage for your interrupt. And if they get interrupted again, they get extra. I don't think it has to be necessarily have to be done by you again, like the interrupt. I think is since they have the paralytic poison on them, anybody who interrupts them, they just adds another 400 damage to that interrupt. So interesting. Let's look at the other ones. Naya's tools herbs. Your healing spells and abilities have a chance to apply Naya's invigorating herbs, increasing the target's haste by 5%. It's just a proc chance for haste. Not too interesting. And then bursts. Your damaging attacks and spells have a chance to toss Naya's spike burst under your target. The bursts latch onto the first enemy to cross them, reducing movement speed by 20% and inflicting. Holy shit, that's serious. Okay, so this one is serious. I thought this was great. But this one right here, you know why I like this one? Because you do get a potency conduit. If you go to this one, you use a defensive. This one is serious because it's not only does it your damaging spells have a chance to inflict more damage, it has a chance to decrease the movement speed. All right, so this might be powerful, but we'll see. From the Night Fae, I truly think that the Khura'in is the one that really shines most with Marksmanship Hunters, with Naya being the close second. And if you're a BG hero, like if you love doing battlegrounds, I feel like this in particular is gonna help you out because you get the increased movement speed with the this shit that you turn into this, and you get to move faster. And if you were able to check or use the conduit or her soulbind thing that heals you while you're in this form, that's also great. All right, so now this is the Venthyr. We're gonna go over the Venthyr. This is by far one of the most popular covenants out there because of the theme. Okay, so let's go on to Nagia. Nagia to me is the strongest. I like their spell animations, all that good shit is pretty cool. So we got Thrill Seeker. While in combat, you get these stacks, and the stacks come up pretty quickly. Okay, you probably get it like in 30 to 45 seconds. Once you get to the maximum stacks, you get 20% haste for 10 seconds. All right, now this is powerful enough that you will want to pay attention to it. You will want to play around it because it's 20% haste for 10 seconds. So Thrill Seeker is the reason why she is pretty good on top of Argent of Chaos. That whenever you use your teleport, you see that ring around it? Anybody inside that ring, when you teleport, they get disoriented, just like a scatter shot. So it's an AoE scatter shot. That's not instant. So these two right here is the reason why you want Nagia. Especially because of the Agent of Chaos. That disorient, and I don't think it shares a diminishing return with our damage. I mean, our CC. I don't know that yet. I don't think it does. But basically, say you freezing trap somebody, you can just before freezing trap is done, you can 100% cast it. Boom, you CC them again for an additional 6 seconds. 6 seconds on top of that freezing trap into another 6-second disorient into maybe a scatter shot. Now, again, I don't know if they have diminishing returns, but from all the soulbinds I've tried, everything doesn't really share diminishing returns with your class. So this will be the main reason why you want to go Venthyr. Plus your Flayed Shot. It does an okay amount of damage on its own, and it increases your kill shot damage whenever it procs. So when you use Flayed Shot, your Flayed Shot gives you a chance to activate kill shot regardless of their health, and it gives that kill shot 10% extra damage. All right, so that's pretty interesting. Now, if you pair it up with Deadeye, you're not really wanting the 2 charges, because obviously, I mean, once you use kill shot, that person is probably gonna die. But the reason you want the Deadeye is because your aim shot becomes, like, you'll be able to get more aim shots. Will that be useful in PvP? I don't think so, because we're always capped on aim shots. So it is what it is. Double tap is just that ability. You will want to go double tap. The duration of incoming, interrupt, snare, and root effects are reduced by 20. That's a quarter. That's a quarter. So if the duration is 4 seconds, you shave off an entire second, I believe. So that's pretty cool. This one is great for PvE. The benefits of well-fed, flask, and weapon FX are increased by 20%. Obviously, that's great for PvE. I don't necessarily think that the weapon enchant that we get in Shadowlands is going to be that sexy. To take this and sacrifice the potency. And then the other one is the first enemy you damage in combat is marked as your adversary. You deal 3% more damage to them, and they deal 1.5% less damage to you. You can only do it on one target. I mean, the 3% is good, but it's only good if you're going against a raid boss. That's it. That's how I feel. That's how I feel. 1.5% less damage to you. Ah. This one, I don't like it because you have to stay. It gives you a good amount of mastery. Very nice chunk of mastery. But you have to stay within that area when he comes out. So if you're kiting somebody and you're moving about and you're going everywhere with this motherfucker and he comes out and you're still having to kite, then you lose out on all that mastery. This is why I don't like it. Dora Shadow has 2 charges. And the other one is Dora Shadows freeze you from roots and snares. I would go Dora Shadows freeze you from roots and snares. 100%. I would go for that. Next up, this is crap. This is crap. All right, let's look at the last 3. Grant a shield that absorbs, and I'm talking about Theotar, by the way. Grants a shield that absorbs 2,000 damage to all allies who aid you with healing and benefit. So basically, anybody who's healing you, they'll have a chance to gain a shield that absorbs 2,500 damage. Okay. I mean, I don't think this is too great. It doesn't necessarily make me feel like, yo, that's too powerful. I think it's useful. I mean, it's an added thing to you, but it's not something that I'm like, oh, all right. So the effects of combat potions last, all right, that's another PvE thing. And then Flay Shot signals the start of tea time, granting 6% versatility to you and 3% versatility to up to 4 nearby allies. So if you're trying to go for a versatility build, then Theotar will be the go-to. Plus, every time you use Flay Shot, so it's every 30 seconds. Every 30 seconds, you will have 6% versatility that lasts 5 seconds. I think the duration that it lasts sucks. It's not going to be that useful. But, hey, you get to squeeze out as much versatility as possible, all right? And then General Dawn. General Dawn is good for damage mitigation. Whenever you're below 40% health, your damage is reduced by 10%. And if you die, your husk shatters for 3 seconds, inflicting 100% of your maximum health in damage. That's serious. But if you die in an arena, you die in an arena. Like, you literally have to die in an arena to get this maximum, to get the benefit for this. Yeah. All right, next one is when a nearby ally gains temporary increased movement speed, you also gain the benefit. It's whatever. Dora Shadows. I mean, the reason I say is whatever is because you have post haste, and that gives you 50% movement speed increase every 20 seconds. And you have your aspect of the cheetah. And then the other one is Dora Shadow grants you a shield that absorbs damage to equal 15% of your maximum health. That makes sense. This one right here makes sense. 15% of your maximum health just for using your Dora Shadows. All right, these are not relevant. You could choose whatever. It's up to you. Whatever your choice is for these. And then let's look at the last 3. Hold your ground standing still for at least 4 seconds. Grants you 10% increased stamina and 4% increased healing done. You're standing still. Don't like it. I mean, it might be nice at the end of a stun to give you that increased stamina and give you that increased healing done. But if you're deep in a stun that you're in there for 4 seconds, you're probably dead. So basically it lasts the entire time until you move. and 6 seconds after you move. It's alright. Not too bad. It doesn't synergize with our spec, but it is what it is. Successfully interrupting an enemy or dispelling an ally increases your critical strike chance by 10% for 10 seconds. This is nice. I would choose this one. While you're above 80% health, you gain 1% agility for 3 seconds, stacking up to 4 times, so you get 4% agility. And if you go below 50% health, is lost. And in a game as volatile as Shadowlands right now, or the pre-patch, where people's health literally goes to 10% and back up, this is gonna suck. You're not gonna get a lot of uptime on that. So I would go for superior tactics. Successfully interrupting an enemy at the spelling gives you 10% increased critical strike chance. That's how I feel. Naji is gonna be the best one still. I feel the same way. Let us go to the last Covenant. Necrolord is pretty good too. But the reason the Necrolords are good is because their Covenant abilities are strong. It's not because their Soulbinds are strong, unless they've changed it recently. So let's look at them. This is my favorite Necrolord one, I believe, because it's the one that I was using. And with this Covenant, you get Death Chakram. And Death Chakram is basically an instant spell that deals damage and increases damage every time it bounces. It does an okay amount of damage. But people are going to want it because it increases your focus every time it deals damage, all right? And then the other thing is Fleshcraft, if you do a full cast, prevents 4,700 damage, but that's not really why you want it. There is effects that you get for using your Fleshcraft, so let's look at that shit. This one is, while using Fleshcraft with nearby courses consumes their essence completely, granting a benefit based on the creature type. I don't know what the humanoid type is. It might be versatility, but we'll see. In an arena, it might not be useful unless you're 2v1, you're doing a 2v1 and you kill one target. Then it can be useful, but in rated arenas, you will barely get that chance. Next, when reduced below 50% health, Ooze courses over you, granting you a shield for 15% of your maximum health for 10 seconds. So this is good in the sense that it helps you in stuns, or it helps you when you're just going against those rot specs. So it does last for 10 seconds. It's all right. The other one is while standing still, you slowly build stacks of Bloop's Wanderlust. At 5 stacks, your movement speed is increased by 10% for 2 minutes. To me, this is complete ass. I don't want it. Your first attack or spell cast on an enemy increases your damage done to them by 10% for 10 seconds. So if you go with this one, which I think is good, you want to have some type of defensive as a Monstership Hunter. You sacrifice a potency conduit so you can get extra damage done to them. So again, just like Corraine in the Night Fae, when you attack a target for the first time, or your first attack or whatever, you get 10% increased damage on them for 10 seconds. That's pretty good. So it's all about, I guess this is all about choice. Do you need a little bit more survivability, or do you need more damage? All right, the next one is, all right, this is nothing. This is basically up to you, what you want to choose. And then the last ability is, while channeling Fleshcraft, you are immune to crowd control and you generate 2% health every second. If you finish the full cast, you gain 4 seconds of crowd control immunity on top of the casting, during which you regenerate 2% health every 1 second. So what I like about Ultimate Form is, say they're gonna go on your dude and you see a rogue coming to you, like he's hitting somebody, he stunned them, he runs to you to sap you, to stun you, to do whatever it is to control you. You can cast Ultimate Form to immune you from those crowd controls, and you gain health, and you gain immunity to that after casting the whole thing. Plus you regenerate even more health after that, all right? So this might be the go-to for the Necrolord Soulbinds, but let's look at the other ones. Emony is good too, I think. Actually, no, I think Emony is a tank Soulbind, if I remember. But let's see. Death Chakram increases your agility by 5% and up to 4 nearby allies' primary stat by 2%. So it increases your agility. I don't think this is going to be too powerful in the beginning because our agility is strong. That's the strongest stat we have. But being that we have low amounts of agility in the start of the expansion, I don't think this is going to be too incredible or impactful. Like there are others. There's way different soulbinds and conduits that are way better than this, in my opinion. Let's go on to the next one. Flesh Trap increases your maximum health by 5%. It's 5%. I'd rather have the heal from Plague Divisor, right? And the other one, which is pretty cool, you may channel Fleshcraft while moving. I don't know about you, but that's okay. I think I would go for this one and maybe sacrifice that Potency Conduit. It's a toughie. It's a toughie. All right, this is up to you. Let's look at the last three. Your movement speed is increased. And it's only increased if you have people or enemies around you. This one is you gain 3% haste for 10 seconds after defeating an enemy. And while reduced below 20% health, you fear enemies for 5 seconds. Now that is a fear. Okay? I honestly believe that all these three suck hard. So I would never in my entire Shadowlands career will I ever choose Emily as a Marksmanship Hunter. Let's go to Bonesmith. Hear me. Your agility and armor is increased by 1%. Enchantment. So any enchants you have increases your agility by 3%. I guess that's a great passive because you don't need to activate something. You don't need to press an ability. Something doesn't need to happen to make this proc. It's just a 3% increased agility at all times. And upon your death, your armor anchors your soul, allowing you to fight for an additional 10 seconds. During this time, your damage and healing done is reduced by 50%, and you cannot receive healing. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, anything that is about you dying, I think this will be helpful in like 10% of your arena games. And the reason I say that is your damage is reduced by 50%. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm not too much of a fan. Defeating an enemy reduces Fleshcraft's cooldown. BGs, definitely not arenas or PvE type stuff. Inflict 4/3 shadow damage in your attack. Blah, blah, blah. Again, these are always like up to you. All right, so here's Arsenal. Damaging or healing a target below 35% grants you 35% increased movement speed. This is not. While the movement speed is cool, being a ranged class, a ranged spec, why do you need that increased movement speed? They either gonna go behind the wall, and if they're in the open, you don't need that increased movement speed. You're just gonna bust their ass. Maybe in BGs this will work out, but I don't think is as impactful as it might to a melee spec. After landing 10 critical strikes, you gain 18% chance to critical strike for 10 seconds. I like that. I like that. Every 10 crits, you gain 18%. That's huge. But it only occurs after 60 seconds. So from what I'm reading, you have to build up your stacks to get to your 10 critical strikes. Then you get the 18% for 10 seconds. Then you have to wait 60 seconds in order for the stacks to start up again. Uptime on this is horrendous. All right, the next one is defeating an enemy restores 3% of your health. It's defeating an enemy. It's defeating an enemy. Not a fan. This might be good for PvE and shit like that, especially Mythic Pluses, but not too much of a fan. This one might be good. This one might be good. All right, so that's how I feel. I think Plague Divisor will be the greatest one especially for PvP. It makes sense. It kind of helps us out, but again, what makes Necrolord great is their Covenant abilities. And that's it. That's how I feel about the Covenants. I feel that Kyrian is going to be by far the best for Marksmanship Hunters. I'm not saying that they're the best Covenant overall for any spec. For Marksmanship Hunters, Kyrian is gonna be the best, with Pelagos being the damaging, Mechanicals being the defensive, and Clea being the self-sustainability. Second best, in my opinion, is gonna be Venthyr. It was Necrolord, but the Venthyr just has that extra haste with Nagia. It has the extra CC, and that other one at the end that's pretty good. The Covenant abilities is great for the Venthyr. You get the Flay Shot, that's extra damage, that's extra procs of your kill shot, and you have ways to escape. So that one Soulbind for the Venthyr is probably gonna make the Venthyr the best one. Then for the third one, when it comes to damaging, I feel like the Knife is gonna be interesting, right? A lot of synergy when it comes to damage with Martialship Hunters. A lot of ways to have like movement. You can move with your Covenant, that Fox shit or whatever. You have the ability to stun. It's just great with the spec, the Knife. Their 2-minute cooldown Covenant ability that I forget what it's called, Wild Spirits. It takes too long to use. It's a huge cooldown, 2 minutes, but it's pretty powerful, especially in AoE. And then lastly is Necrolord. Necrolord is fun, and it might be pretty good in PvP, especially in arenas, because of the Covenant abilities. But the Soulbinds themselves, they suck mad peepees, okay? Not too interested in that. Not too interested in that. But we'll see how it plays out. Obviously, when you first unlock your Soulbinds, you only have access to the Covenant abilities and this first ability. So there's going to be a lot of different Marksmanship Hunters out there. I mean, obviously, most of them is going to be probably Kyrian or Venthyr. Isn't that nice that you'll be able to play the same spec in different ways, or go against the same spec and have to pay attention what to... I don't know. I like that. So that's how I personally feel. Is do simulations and like that. It makes sense where with the damaging or the top PvPers, are they gonna use something specific? I don't know. But with my knowledge and what I know about WoW and all this shit, that's how I feel about this shit. And we're done.